Welcome back to message crawler video series. I'm going to give you a fairly quick update on a couple of things that I've added to message crawler. So let's jump to the screen and I'll start. All right, first thing I did is the export type. So before I had RSMF1 and RSMF2, so I had two different ways of generating RSMF file. And after some testing in Relativity 1, it turned out to be RSMF2 was a better file format. There were certain performance issues with RSMF1. It was taking longer to load, so I took that out. It's not on the menu anymore. The code is still behind. If I want to bring it back, I could. But right now, it's only RSMF2 logic. That's the only one I'm going with. So hopefully that's going to be it. It's the way Relativity recommends. And from the testing, it works. Next thing that I did is I added an additional field called recipient or to field. Now here's the thing. In Relativity's RSMF specifications, there's actually no to field. So there's nothing that specifies who you send in the message to. So here we have all the possible fields for an event, and we have our participant. So that's the person who is sending the message or who event is happening with, like joining the chat or leaving the chat group. But there's nothing that says who they send it to. And the way I think we used to thinking of text messages, it's like an exchange between two people. One person sending it to the other and the other person replies. That's not really the thinking here, because the way I see it, they really were thinking of a group and a person participates in the group. And as far as how it affects the messaging, well, I think it makes it not as clear as I would like it to be. So how do you tell who the message was sent to? Well, you need to know who were the participants in a group or in the conversation, which is a different section here. So if we scroll here, so we have a conversation which contains participants. Now, if two people would send messages to one another, it would be one conversation, and both participants would be on the list. That's how you know one person sending to the other person. Here's what I was thinking, though, is like, well, let's say a person 2 here never responds. So let's say person 1 harassing person 2, right? And the person just sending messages over and over and over and just texting and texting and texting, and the person 2 just ignores them and never answers. So in that case, there is no reply, and that person would never make it onto participant of a conversation because they technically not saying anything, right? So that's why I thought having a field called to is important, because we want to know who the message was sent to, which is going to be a column here. And the only thing this field is going to be used for is for generating those participants in the conversation. All right, I hope it makes sense. So you don't know who the message was sent to, but you do know participants of a conversation, and that's how you know who received the message. So there is no direct from and to in the RSMF specifications. Yep, so if you want to have that, you can have it. So you can add a to field. It gets selected on the bottom left here. It will get scanned, and all those names will get added to the conversation, so you know people who were talking to each other. Okay, now as far as the application itself, I feel like I've tested it enough. I tested it with different DAT files. I had a few people run it through some DAT files. I loaded to Relativity 1. I loaded to a developer environment, and I'm fairly confident that this application will work, and it's pretty much safe to take it out of beta stage and put it into production environment. The problem that I'm gonna have, this application isn't, say, battle tested, right? There isn't enough data and there isn't enough users to actually run lots of data through it and be absolutely sure everything is perfect and everything works. From what I've seen, from all the testing, things work just fine. But what has to happen now is users have to download this, run through the data, load it into Relativity, and see if there are any issues. If any issues come up, I'll take care of them, I'll troubleshoot, whatever. And what I'm gonna do pretty soon, I'm gonna publish this version. This is gonna be version 1.0, and it'll just be on my website, and you'll be able to download it, try it out, and that's gonna be official version 1. And of course, it's not real world tested because the file format is new, but as the time goes on, hopefully people will download it, use it, any issues they will report it to me, and it's only going to get better as people use it. All right, so keep an eye on it on my website when it's going to get published. Get yourself a copy and feel free to play around with it, and if you like it, you can buy a full license that will unlock all the features and such, and hopefully it'll be useful for you. All right, if I do make any more changes to this, I will post additional videos. Talk to you guys later.